Now, Fred, how old are you?
How old am I?
How old are you?
A well-kept 77.
77, a very well-kept 77.
Well, I eat a lot of black jelly beans. You guys eat the white ones. They goo you up. Don't eat those, man. Stay with the black jelly beans, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
How is Fred Williamson at 77?
I don't explain me. I just let people experience me.
Give me a better answer. Give me a shot.
Hey,
Give me something.
I'm healthy.
You're 77 years old.
I've never had a headache. I've never had a toothache. I've never had a stomach ache. I'm fine, man. I mean, I do all my own stunts. I'm a martial arts guy. I still got 4 black belts in martial arts, so I'm doing good.
Okay. Now, in a moment, I want you to just assess your impact on 1970s cinema. But before you do, I want to have a go.
Yeah.
And tell me how I go.
Right.
Okay. There would be a lot of actors. Denzel Washington, Danny Glover, Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes. As A-list black actors who have made a couple of bucks from action films probably need to be sending you Christmas cards every year in thanks. You are one of the pioneers of black cinema in the 1970s. You helped establish the novel idea of the alpha black male on screen, a figure who is triumphant and who is victorious and who does not have to apologize for his color. How's that sound?
Yeah.
They owe you a lot. You helped establish that archetype, did you not?
But there's a reason, you know. I had goals. My goal was not to be an actor. My goal was not to be a movie star. My goal was to send a message that blacks are marketable, because there's an audience out there that has not been satisfied based on what they see in the movies and based on what they see on the screen. So I decided that if I was going to come into the industry, I was going to come in on my own terms. I was going to come in like I left professional football, the hammer, the tough guy. I don't do comedy, I don't sing, I don't dance. That doesn't mean I don't know how. But that is not the image I wanted to project to society, because they needed heroes in those days. They had no heroes. The black people were being washed down on the corner by police with hose, sticking dogs on them. So they needed somebody who stood up.
You went into film with a very definite agenda. You wanted to change the image of black males on screen. Can you tell me what it was that you were seeing in the culture around you that inspired that?
Very simple. You kill the black guy in the first 5 minutes and let Schwarzenegger avenge him. If I'm coming into the industry, you're going to kill Schwarzenegger, let me avenge him. You know, I had 3 rules when I came into Hollywood. I called a press conference and I said, I have 3 rules. You adhere to these, I'm in your film. 1, you can't kill me in a movie. 2, I have to win all my fights in the movie. And 3, I get the girl at the end of the movie if I want her. You do 2 out of 3 of those, and I'm coming into your movie. I cannot be bought. My integrity is not for sale.
But tell me about the power of cinema that you recognized back then.
Well, you know, the power of cinema for me was making a film that was as controversial as I could get it and make sure that everybody saw it. Based on the narrow-mindedness of society at that particular time, I decided to make a Western called The Legend of Nigger Charlie. What I did was I made the film, then I took a billboard on 42nd Street in New York, 40 feet high, and it just said, "He's coming." After 2 weeks, I changed it. It was me with my shirt off, 2 guns to my side, arms folded, and said, "Nigger Charlie has arrived." And at the bottom, it listed all the theaters that it was playing. I had lines wrapped around the block trying to see what this movie was about.
But what was it specifically about the medium of cinema that attracted you in terms of wanting to influence a generation of black kids?
Well, because there was a market that was totally missed. They were not aware or not even considering that there was a black audience out there who wanted to go to the movies and have their popcorn and Coca-Cola and watch their stars other than Mantan Moreland or Stephen Fletcher. They wanted a more positive image, and I knew that I could bring that because that was the way I lived my life. You know, business success that I've done has come from a positive image of myself. Not how other people see me, but how I see myself.
Now, can you just quickly just give us the stepping stones to Nigger Charlie? Because you were in MASH, yeah, and you were in Julia,
right,
and there you were just meeting people by happenstance in the canteen at the studio while you were making Julia when you were approached to be in MASH. How did that then lead on to your first film?
What I was selling was a image of Fred Williamson. I am maybe in real life what you see on the screen, other than killing people, but my reputation has always been a tough guy. Whether or not I'm a tough guy doesn't really matter, because I have an image and a reputation and a style that dictates if you challenge what you see, you may win, but at the same time, you're going to lose something. So I had something to sell. I had my personality, I had my character, and I was not going to give that away if I got into the industry. So I decided, looking at what I saw, it was still killing the black guy in the first 5 minutes and letting the other guy, be the hero. And that's not the way I was coming into the industry.
Are you satisfied, Fred, that you had the impact on that generation of young people, young black people, that you wanted to change the image of the black man on screen?
No, I'm not satisfied with anything I've done. I haven't really done yet what I want to do, and what I want to do, I don't really know. I know that in my life and what I've done now, what I'm doing is still not on the grandeur scale that I want it to be on. I look like this because something is preserving me. Something is saving me to look like this, because there's something I haven't done yet, something that I haven't accomplished yet, that I look like this at 77.
Might that have something to do with an approach from a studio? Because as far back as 1990, you yourself identified the unlikelihood of a studio coming and offering you a deal because you're so controversial.
It has something to do with don't give a poo-poo.
But I mean, would you like that? Would you like an offer from a studio?
Oh, no. I don't want that. No.
Can
Like I say, you give me 20 million from a studio, I'll make 10 movies and give you 10 million back and make a profit on each one of those. That's how I feel.
You don't think that ultimately you had an impact on the kids watching your movies back then, or on the culture? Because again, I'm trying to give you credit.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, Eddie Murphy, Danny Glover, every black guy who's made a buck out of a big action film. The only reason why they've done that is because that archetype had to be established first. You were one of the guys in the 70s who did that.
Well,
I'm trying to give you credit, Fred
Williamson. It's not
Williams.
that broad. Here's the way it comes. They say, give me Fred Williamson. Then 10 years later, they give me somebody who looks like Fred Williamson. Give me somebody who acts like Fred Williamson. Give me somebody that is cool as Fred Williamson. So these actors coming along, find out that's the way. That's the way to be. And so they mimic or listen and watch. So that's the transition of give me Fred Williamson and give me someone who acts like Fred Williamson. So that's where they are in those films. When I see people like American Gangster, Denzel doing American Gangster, and he's mimicking me walking down the street with the bad guys, taking care of his mother, doing all that stuff, that's Black Caesar. So I smile, I chuckle on that stuff.
Yeah.
I look at Quentin Tarantino, who makes Inglourious Bastards, and I made Inglourious Bastards in 1976. What he did was change the spelling to bastards, to bastard. So
He also did Django.
And I did The Legend of Nigga Charlie. But to me, that's homage. Okay, so you're playing homage to me. Thank you very much.
So you do acknowledge that you have had an influence on the artists working today, on the directors and the styles working today, as you say.
Only because what you have to sell is your character.
Yeah.
You can't depend on the special effects and other actors around you to pull you through. What you sell and what they see is what you have to sell.
No.
If that ain't real, then it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, in terms of the directors working today and the actors working today, I'm just wanting to know if you believe that they do take reference to you, that you did influence.
Only when
their
they see
work.
me. Only when they see me.
Okay.
When they shake my hand and say blah, 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 hey, I like you, boom, boom, boom. But I don't believe it.
Yeah, what do you mean? You think you've become an invisible character? Or
No,
something?
they don't give the credit. No, I mean, everybody that does something today feel like they invented it themselves. They don't give credit. History is something that's somebody else to reckon with.
Yeah.
What they do, they feel that they created.
And just coming back to the A-list black actors and directors today, do you feel that a lot of them have their own production companies?
I don't know about that. Who does?
Doesn't Denzel Washington have his own production company?
If he does, he's not using it.
Okay, well, that's actually even more relevant then. Because my question to you is, could they not have banded together by now and formed a really great studio?
No, that's not a black thing. If they want to put together a barbecue stand or a liquor store, fine. Business-wise, No, I tried to do that with Jim Brown, Bernie Casey, Richard Roundtree, and we couldn't get past arguing about who was going to be president of the company because we're not there yet. Socially, we're not there yet that we can work together as a group and put it together. We're not there yet. I mean, there are some black folks can argue that, but you can argue all you want to because all you got to do is look around. You don't see it happening anywhere. It is a slave mentality. Slave mentality, the head nigger who worked in the field and his wife cooked in the kitchen would go to the field house, go back to the kitchen. She would sneak him 4 or 5 pieces of chicken. He'd run down back there where the slave quarters were and bury it and hide it. He didn't share it. He didn't give it to his brothers and say, here's some chicken, man, so you can have some chicken, you can have some chicken, you get big and strong, and we can kick butt and get out of here. It didn't happen like that. We have not progressed that far. We're maybe and hopefully we're getting better, but I promise you, if you look at all these guys making all this money, there's no reason why Samuel Jackson or Will Smith or some guy that can put together a so-called black production company and make films. Why? Because they can't work together. It's real simple.
That's a very bold statement.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
I'm sensing, Fred, pride in the work that you've done,
yeah,
justifiably, but I'm also sensing disappointment with the lack of progress.
I'm a realist. I understand that they don't understand. So if they don't understand, I can't convince them.
So you're saying it would be wonderful if Will Smith and Denzel Washington and...
It would be a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. If these guys, 4 of them put together and all they got to do is make 4 films and each one star in a separate one, I mean, that's like 12 films, okay? You star in this one, you co-star in this one. If you co-star in that one, you star in the next one. They could do that down the line forever. And for them to raise money, you know, to make a film for like 10 million or 15 million as a group would be very easy for them to do. Why don't they do it? That is the reason.
That's
Can't
an incredible
work
statement.
together.
How did you come to produce your own stuff?
Oh, yeah, Hollywood has this idea, or had this idea, and they still have it, that a black star in a film doesn't sell in the European market. But I knew better than that because I had a lot of European girlfriends, French girls, Italian girls. So I didn't believe that. So I said, okay, I'm going to make a film, and I'm not going to give it to any distributor. I'm going to distribute it myself. First film I made was Adios Amigo, Richard Pryor. I took it to Cannes. I went to the Cannes Film Festival. I gave the maitre d' $50 a day at the Carlton Hotel to save the table in the middle of the terrace for me at lunchtime. I put my pictures and portfolios out there. I gave girls T-shirts, and I sold my film right there on the Carlton Terrace, finding out that the first buyer came by, which was Greece, said $3,000 for a Fred Williamson movie. I said, there's no way. You're not going to buy this film for me for $3,000 because I know you make a lot of money. And he says, okay, I won't buy it. The very last day, everybody had said no, came by and took my price that I wanted to sell. I made about $375,000 on a $75,000 film, sticking to my guns that I know you're making money. And the reason why you're creating this idea is so that the producers in Hollywood would pay less and you would profit more. So that was a ploy that the American producers and distributors fell for.
So they were selling your movies for a very cheap flat fee.
$3,000 with a flat fee.
Telling you, well, black actors don't sell in Europe, but them knowing that they actually do sell, and they're going to make a lot more money if you don't know.
Well, they weren't telling me. They were telling the producers in Hollywood. They knew I knew better because I was the determined guy, and they could see the expression on my face that I was not going for this $3,000 sale. It was a flat, no matter who was in the movie, no matter what the movie was, it was a flat $3,000. And I sell my movies country by country and territory by territory. So I did okay.
Now, I understand that you have been paid out early in your career twice, ABC and Universal, rather than honouring a deal that they made with you to make movies with you and by you. Instead of doing that, opted for just paying out your contract and sending you on your way. Can you just tell me a little bit about that and how that led to you producing your own stuff and your subsequent attitude towards them?
Well, I've always been ahead of my time. You know, whatever I've done has always been way ahead of my time, and I never get the accolades for it. 20th Century, Universal had me on the contract. I did a first black James Bond movie called
That
Man Bolt. We shot in Hong Kong. Had my style, had my martial
Not
arts.
a bad movie.
Had my tuxedo. Movie did very well. So they came back to me, and I had a three picture deal with them. And at the end of the distribution of the film, they said, "We like you, we like the movie, we know we made money, but we're not ready to enter into the black exploitation genre yet." And I said, "You don't like money?" And that's not it. We just don't want to be into that market right now. Right after that, Shaft came along. And they came back to me again, and I said, "I'm not interested. I got my own company now. I don't really need you." You know, same thing happened with ABC. I did Monday Night Football.
This was earlier. This was back in the 60s.
No, this was 70s.
Sorry, 70s. You were doing commentary with Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell for Monday Night Football. But they forgot to tell Howard I was as controversial as he was. I was quicker than Howard because I could relate to the game better than Howard because he never played the game. So he refused to talk to me. He talked to Frank Gifford. Now here I had a contract with them to do 3 movies of the week, to direct, produce, and star in 3 movies of the week for ABC. And Howard Cosell obviously went to them and says, "This is not working." So they came to me and said, we'd like to pay you off. I said, "Fine. You know, I'm not really want to do it anyway. The only reason I agreed to do it is because you gave me the time, the opportunity to produce and direct 3 movies of the week. I took it for that reason. I was not interested in Monday Night Football." So they paid me off. I said, "Thank you very much," and went home.
So did those experiences harden your attitude against the studios? Because a lot of the so-called blaxploitation films, and we'll get onto that term in a moment, were made by studios. They were studio films. But yet you remained an independent filmmaker. Was that because your attitude had hardened against the studios because of those experiences?
No, I knew that I never wanted to be part of any studio. I don't want to be told what kind of film to make and what to do. I knew that being an independent was the only way for me to go because Hollywood studios would never adhere to the philosophy that I had of "don't kill me, let me win my fights." So I know the only way I was going to survive was to make my own movie and raise my own monies, and that's what I did.
How did you raise the money? The studios have their money. How do you raise money independently as a filmmaker for a black lead in a movie?
Pre-selling it to the European market because that's how they bought. I knew they were buying my film, so I would take their contracts. I would take them to the bank. The bank would loan me against the contracts, and I would use the money to make the film. The good thing about that was that now the bank became the collector because they loaned me money against the contract. So it was up to them to do due diligence on the contract to see if they were real.
You have remarkable marketing nous, and it was through your marketing nous that you actually got into Hollywood. I know the story about how you got onto the Julia show, how you saw it on TV, and you literally went to the producer's office and you lied your way into his office and said, "Julia is seen with a different boyfriend every week. That's sending a pretty bad message. Why don't you have one well-known black guy be her steady boyfriend?" And within, I think, a week, you got a contract.
Yeah, I got a week. I got a 3-year contract. But saying no has never been something that I was afraid of. Somebody saying no to me means absolutely nothing.
Your marketing nous, did that come from your exposure to the sports world?
No, because when I got into the industry, it was a negative to being a football player. As even here, probably in America, they think all football players are dumb. Baseball players are not dumb. Hockey players are not dumb. Only a football player is dumb because there had been a lot of superstars ahead of me that were one-hit wonders. Joe Namath, Paul Hornung, Frank Gifford, guys who had a greater notoriety than I did coming out of professional football, didn't make it. So I knew that if I was going to make it, it had to be on talent because it was not as a celebrity athlete.
Now, I've often asked actors to sum up their philosophy as an artist in one word. The one word that actually defines everything that they've done in film. An example, I once asked Gregory Peck to do that, and his word was honour. In your case, one word, Fred Williamson, what would be that word?
Business.
Yeah.
You can't be part of the business unless you understand the business that you're in. If you don't understand the business, you will never be a success in the business.
I would have said control. That's a good word.
I don't want control. That's a bad director. The bad director controls. That's why you hire talent to bring something to the table. You never tell an actor what to do and how to present a character unless he goes off in a tangent that you don't want in your part. Then you take him over politely and just bring it down a little bit or expand it here. You don't control. That's a terrible word in the industry. But understand the business of the business, and you will have longevity. I've been in business 46 years. Look at all the guys who started with me when I started, the Jim Brown, the Bernie Casey, the Richard Roundtree. They all disappeared. You know why they disappeared? Because they didn't understand the business. What they understood was that they were working and they were getting acting jobs. But the mistake they made is their movies were all about retribution. Let's get Whitey back. Let's pay back Whitey for what he did to us. My movies, I kill black people, yellow people, pink people, blue people. I kill everybody that was bad. So my films did not fit into that black exploitation genre. So when it all died, it only lasted like 4 years, and the studio stopped financing them, I was still out there churning along, making my little movies, and I was killing everybody. If you were bad, you went down in my movie.
So the violence in your films was morally based rather than racially based.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. My lifestyle is not racially based. How can I make a movie that's racially based?
It's an important distinction.
I just understand how people feel, and not only that, I'm smart enough to exploit how they feel.
Now, your films were very successful, certainly successful enough to keep you making films.
Exactly.
The mark of success.
Yes. My market is the foreign market. My market is the European market, the Asian market, because that's really where my market is. My market is outside of the U.S.
I understand you're huge in Europe.
Yes.
They love you in Germany.
Germany, Italy, Spain. I mean, this is where my market is.
And you lived in Rome for a while as a result of that.
Still live in Rome.
Why? What was your appeal in Europe, do you think?
My philosophy is simple. I go where I'm loved. If you don't love me, I'm out. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. I go where I'm loved.
Was the perception of you in Europe an action star rather than a black star? Was that the main difference?
You hit it on the head. That's it. In America, I'm a black actor. In Europe, I'm an action star.
At this particular point in time, are you still disappointed that that's how you're seen? Or has that come about because you have self-identified as chiefly a black actor? Or is it a perception problem?
I don't really care. I know who I am. I know what I do. I have fun. I have golf time. I have movie time. I kill the bad guy. I get the girl if I want to. I'm okay.
You were never comfortable with the word Blaxploitation, which I understand is a word that was invented by the NAACP.
Yes. Well, the reason why was because if you're going to categorize my movie and try to channel them in a box, then you got to call Burt Reynolds white exploitation. You got to call Clint Eastwood white exploitation movies.
Blaxploitation.
Yes, and you got to call all the other movies that are action stars white exploitation. If you don't, then you can't explain it to me why you're calling my film a black exploitation movie.
Because it's almost making a mockery of the fact that you actually produce these movies. You made these movies yourself.
But, you know, who's being exploited? The audiences are now getting heroes. When the smoke clears and the fight is over, the black guys, he's left standing, so everybody's cheering that. The actors are getting a little more money now because they're starring in films than they did before, so I never really understood who was being exploited.
I took another look at Boss Nigger a couple of nights ago, and I didn't realize how funny it was.
It's a satire on the word. You know, the only reason it's funny is because you play it serious.
Yes.
You play it tough. You play it serious. $5 for calling somebody that word, $10 for 10. So it was a satire on it. So that's what made the movie work. It was a play on the word.
Now, we've been chatting here, I think, quite amiably, and I've been freely using the word nigger in context with the films and so on. You have not walked out, you haven't sworn.
It means nothing. What does it mean? It means nothing. The hell does it mean?
I mean, I'm not using N-word.
If you're insecure, you know, if I call you punk or sissy or whatever, you're going to react the same way. So what difference does it make, you know? So I'll call you pumpkin, okay? I'll call you anything. If the word nigga bothers you, then you become nigra or negro or colored. But Diahann Carroll had a better one, third world.
And what do you think of the use of the word today, now that it's assumed very different shades of meaning now?
It only bothers bourgeois black people and white people.
Okay.
Guys from the ghetto and guys from the street That's a word it's endearing terminology. That's my nigga over there. That's my nigga. Come on, bro. That's my nigga over there. That's an endearing term in the ghetto. Now, if you're not from the ghetto, I can understand how it may bother you.
Now, you've always stuck with the action films, with doing action, low-budget action films. I'm wondering whether, didn't it ever occur to you to oh, I will do a romantic comedy. I will do a straight drama.
I sell a brand. I am the black Clint Eastwood with martial arts. That's what I sell. I sell a brand. You can't buy me. I don't care how much money you pay me. When the money is gone and I've sold myself, what have I have left? I know what I represent. I have more pressure than most black actors have in the industry because I have set this standard up for myself, and I know that people expect that to happen every time they see me on the screen. If I lose a fight, I have to walk down New York, and everybody that's black walk by me and says, "Hammer, you let that guy beat you up, man? How come you let that?" When I did From Dusk Till Dawn, and I got bit on the neck, dude, I got a lot of flack from my fans of going down. But what I said was, I didn't go down as the Hammer. I went down as this big, ugly thing that got bit on the neck. They said, "Oh, yeah, right, man. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay."
What about when you went down in Bronx Warriors? What was the reaction there?
Yeah, but I went down. With a cigar, sitting on a chair, going down with strength. So it wasn't somebody outdoing me or somebody winning personally and individually over me. I went down as they would expect me to go down.
Fred, there's a lot of documentary footage on you, a lot of interview footage online. Where's your biography? Your autobiography?
I know too much.
You need to do it.
No, I know too much. I'd be dead in a week. I know all the skeletons are buried. I've been in business 46 years. I know too much.
You can publish it posthumously, but surely
see,
you're duty bound.
Yeah, but they come to me about writing books, but they want tales, tall tales, about the personal stuff and the girls and the women. I'm not interested in disclosing that to anybody. Those are memoirs I'm taking with me as I smoke a cigar on the patio. That's between me and my cigar.
That's fair enough. But just in terms of...
But that's how they ask.
Yeah.
That's how they ask. That's how they come at me. They don't come at me with a motivational book. They don't come at me with speaking motivational as to how and why I overcome the things. They says, okay, I want to write a book. This is, I'll give you a title. You tell me if this title it works for you. Up the Downside would be the title of the book. How you achieve something from being down, coming from a society that's down and going up. And they don't understand that. No, that's not good enough. I said, then we can't talk because my book would be Up the Downside.
So you're not interested in putting all this down on paper?
Nah, I told you I'd be dead in 2 weeks.
I think it would be very instructive, especially.
But that's not what they want. They don't want instructive. They want smut.
But why don't you give them what you want rather than what they want?
Because they won't write it. Because then they won't write it. They won't take it.
Well, publish it yourself.
I got enough things to do, dude.
What's next for you, mate?
I'm doing a film in Rome, Italy, with Franco Nero and Barbara Bach called The Last Hitman.
Barbara Bach?
Yeah, she looks good. She looks good. And plus, I got one coming out here now at the Monster Festival here called Atomic Eden. Hitler hid a secret weapon in one of his bunkers, and all the bad guys are trying to get it, and they hire me to beat the bad guys to it. And I want you to know you're safe. I got it.
Fred, I got to be honest with you. I did see it, and it didn't compare very well to your earlier films.
No. But what I'm selling is shooting in East Germany, because it's wide open. We had like 200 extras in the movie, and they were free. They in the movie and had in all these white suits and all these bad guys. No, it wasn't my kind of movie, but I wanted to help the director get his first start, and that was the first movie made that came out of East Germany. So the next one will be directed by me, will be produced by me, helping him set himself up, and that's what I do. I help other people because I know how hard it is, and I already got him a distribution in States, so it's going to be it's going to play in film in theaters in the States. I already got him a distribution deal in the States.
You continue to produce films unstoppably.
Most definitely.
And that's a result of whether they come out straight to DVD or straight to online.
Understand
They
this.
make money.
If I make a film and it goes to DVD, I make all the money.
Yeah.
Or it goes to foreign, I make all the money. If I make a big film and give it to Paramount, I make nothing. You know, Orion did that to me. I made a film called Original Gangsters. I made the movie.
Famous.
I made the movie for $1 million. The movie was out 3 weeks, and it made $30 million in 3 weeks. Okay, Orion filed bankruptcy. I made nothing. They filed bankruptcy. That was my way. That was my way into the big time, because I was going to really make a string of movies with that money. Filed bankruptcy. After $30 million, they filed bankruptcy and gave all their whole library to Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers has like 99 films like that, and they don't even know they own my film. But they own all the rights. All of a sudden, I got 200 partners who were owed money, touching my money before me. By the time they got through, I had nothing, zero.
So Original Gangsters was an example of you working with a studio, with Orion.
From a distribution standpoint, because I raised the money myself through foreign sales and got it from a bank. I took the money to Orion. I says, here, I want you to distribute this film for me. Okay, we're going to distribute it in 1,500 theaters. You know, had all the deals made, blah, 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 blah. But, hey, they stole all the money. Never happened again.
Sequel?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm putting it together now. It's called Old School Gangsters.
When's that coming out?
I'm start shooting it probably in about 6 months after I finish The Last Hitman.
It's going to be a sad day when it happens, and it's hopefully going to be a long time in the future when it happens. But when the day comes that Fred Williamson leaves us, people will look back at your work, and they will look at the influence that you had, you and the other guys from the 70s, and they will recognize the impact that you had on the self-image of urban blacks. I know people will find that controversial because a lot of black people were against what was happening in cinema. But
well, when
you did help establish that archetype, and you hopefully will be given the credit you deserve.
When they look back and they don't see me, they will never know I'm gone, because I'm going to be walking down the street and I'm going up in a puff of smoke. That's the way I'm leaving here. What happened to the hammer? I don't know. So I'm walking down the street, man. He just disappeared.
I don't think so.
That's the way I'm going, dude.
Fred Williamson, it has been an absolute honor.
Thank you.